The city sprawled below like scattered diamonds, but Camila Santos barely noticed. Her eyes burned from staring at the computer screen, the clock mocking her with its late hour, 11:47 p.m. The law offices of Fletcher & Associates had emptied hours ago, leaving only the echo of her keyboard and the distant footsteps of security making rounds. She should have been home. Should have been curled up in her tiny Brooklyn apartment with leftover Chinese food and a mindless TV show. But the Meridian Industries contract wouldn't let her rest. It nagged at her like a warning she couldn't quite hear. 3 weeks. That's all she'd been here. Fresh out of Columbia law with loans that could crush her, and dreams that burned brighter than her desk lamp. This acquisition was her first major assignment. A $2.8 billion deal that could launch careers or bury them. Don't embarrass me, Santos. Diana Fletcher's words still echoed in her skull, sharp as broken glass. Cross Industries brings in 30% of our revenue. One mistake and you're gone. Sebastian Cross. Even his name felt dangerous. The CEO who turned failing companies into gold and competitors into cautionary tales. Ruthless. Brilliant. Untouchable. And maybe, just maybe, walking into a trap. Camila's fingers trembled as she reread Section 47.3b for the 5th time. The clause seemed standard at first. Just intellectual property transfers for Meridian's AI algorithms. Dense legal language that would make most people's eyes glaze over. But Camila had always been good with puzzles. While other kids went to parties, she'd competed in debate tournaments and solved logic problems for fun. Her mind naturally stripped away the noise to find the pattern underneath. And this pattern was deadly. Hidden in subsection C, buried among patent portfolios and licensing agreements, was a reversion provision. If Cross Industries failed to meet certain developmental milestones within 18 months, full ownership of the AI technology would snap back to Meridian. Not just ownership, exclusive rights. Everything Sebastian Cross paid for would vanish. Her blood turned to ice as she pulled up Appendix L. The milestones were impossible. They demanded AI advances that even top experts considered years away. Someone had crafted this contract to fail. Someone wanted Cross to pay $2.8 billion for nothing. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, cross-referencing signatories and corporate structures, shell companies, holding entities, layers of legal fog, and then she found it. Tomas Rivera, CEO of Rivera Technologies, Cross Industries' biggest competitor. Through a maze of dummy corporations, Rivera had quietly acquired controlling interest in Meridian 6 months ago. The trap was elegant. Sell Meridian to Cross for billions. Watch him fail the impossible milestones. Reclaim the technology while keeping the money. A perfect crime hidden in hundreds of pages no one was meant to read carefully. Camila's heart hammered against her ribs. She'd stumbled onto something massive, something that could destroy Sebastian Cross and hand Rivera a monopoly. Her phone buzzed, shattering the silence. Unknown number. She stared at it, then answered. Miss Santos. The voice was male, smooth and cold as winter. You've been working late. Her throat went dry. Who is this? Someone who knows you found something interesting tonight. Something you should forget about. The line went dead. Camila's hands shook as she looked around the empty office. The lights of the city suddenly felt like 1,000 watching eyes. Camila didn't sleep. She sat in her apartment with every light blazing, the contract printed and spread across her kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene. By dawn, she'd made her decision. At 7 a.m., she stood outside Cross Tower, a steel and glass monument to corporate power that seemed to pierce the clouds. Her reflection in the lobby windows looked small and terrified. Good. Fear meant she understood the stakes. I need to see Sebastian Cross, she told the receptionist, her voice steadier than she felt. Tell him it's about the Meridian acquisition. Tell him I'm from Fletcher & Associates. Tell him it's urgent. The receptionist's perfectly sculpted eyebrow raised. Mr. Cross doesn't take walk-ins. He'll take this one. 20 minutes later, Camila stood in an office that could have fit her entire apartment 3 times over. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city like it was his kingdom, and maybe it was. Sebastian Cross stood with his back to her, phone pressed to his ear. Tall, broad shoulders under a suit that probably cost more than her car. Dark hair touched with silver at the temples. When he turned, his eyes hit her like a physical force. Ice blue, sharp, assessing. You have 5 minutes, he said, ending his call. Make them count. Camila's rehearsed speech evaporated. Up close, he was more than intimidating. He was magnetic, dangerous, the kind of man who could destroy you with a signature. The Meridian deal is a trap, she said, and you're about to walk right into it. His expression didn't change. Bold claim from someone I don't know. Camila Santos, junior associate at Fletcher & Associates. I've been reviewing your acquisition contract. She pulled out the printed pages, hands steady now. Adrenaline had burned away the fear. Section 47.3b contains a reversion clause tied to impossible developmental milestones. 18 months after acquisition, you'll lose everything when you fail to meet them. The AI technology, the patents, everything reverts to Meridian while they keep your $2.8 billion. Now she had his attention. Sebastian moved closer, each step deliberate. He took the papers from her hands, his fingers brushing hers. The contact sent electricity up her arm. Why would Meridian do that? He asked, scanning the pages. Because Meridian isn't Meridian anymore. Thomas Rivera acquired controlling interest 6 months ago through shell companies. He sells you a company rigged to fail, then reclaims the technology. He gets your money and eliminates his biggest competitor in one move. Sebastian's jaw tightened. For a moment, something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by cold calculation. Rivera. The name was barely a whisper, but it carried weight. Old wounds, old wars. He looked at her then, really looked at her. Why come to me? Why not go to your boss? Collect your gold star for saving the deal? The question landed like a blade. Camila swallowed hard. Because Diana Fletcher brought you this contract. She's been handling your account for years. Either she missed this, which makes her incompetent, or she didn't miss it, which makes her complicit. Either way, going to her first means this information disappears, and so do I. Smart girl. Sebastian set the papers on his desk. But you're still here, alone, with a man you just accused of walking into a trap. What's to stop me from making you disappear? Her heart slammed against her ribs. Nothing. But you won't. Why not? Because you didn't build an empire by killing messengers. You built it by being smarter than everyone else in the room. And right now, I'm the only person who knows you're about to lose everything. Silence stretched between them like a wire pulled taut. Then Sebastian smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. What do you want, Camila Santos? I want to help you destroy Rivera. And I want Diana Fletcher to pay for whatever role she played in this. His smile widened. Revenge and ambition. I like you already. He circled her slowly, like a predator deciding if she was prey or something more interesting. Here's what's going to happen, he said, stopping close enough that she could smell his cologne. Cedar and smoke. You're going to work for me now, directly. You're going to help me turn this trap into Rivera's nightmare. And when this is over, if you're still standing, I'll give you everything you want. And if I say no, then you walk out that door and pretend this conversation never happened. But we both know you won't, because you're not the kind of person who walks away when the game gets interesting. He was right. God help her, he was right. Camila met his eyes. I want it in writing. Sebastian laughed, a sound like breaking glass. I'm going to enjoy working with you. He extended his hand. She took it. His grip was firm, warm, and felt like a deal with the devil. Welcome to the war, Camila. 3 weeks of working with Sebastian Cross taught Camila 2 things. He was brilliant, and he was utterly terrifying. They worked late into every night, the city lights their only witness. His private office became their war room, walls covered in corporate structures, financial trails, and the intricate web of Rivera's deception. Coffee cups accumulated like evidence. The space between them grew smaller each night. Rivera thinks he's clever, Sebastian said, leaning over the conference table where they'd spread out documents. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, tie discarded hours ago. He's not. He's desperate. There's a difference. Camila studied the timeline they'd constructed. He's been planning this for over a year. That's not desperation. It's exactly desperation. Rivera Technologies has been hemorrhaging money since their last product launch failed. He needs this AI technology to survive. The trap isn't elegant. It's a Hail Mary. He moved around the table, standing close enough that she felt his presence like heat. You see patterns in contracts, he said quietly. I see patterns in people. Rivera is cornered. Cornered men make mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Sebastian's smile was sharp as a knife. The kind we can exploit. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression darkened. Fletcher wants a meeting tomorrow. About the acquisition timeline, Camila's stomach dropped. She'd been avoiding Diana Fletcher's calls for weeks, citing direct assignment to the Cross account. But that excuse wouldn't hold forever. She knows something's wrong, Camila said. Let her wonder. Sebastian poured 2 glasses of whiskey from the bar cart, handed her one. To keeping our enemies close. Their glasses clinked. The whiskey burned going down, warming her from the inside. Why did you really come to me? Sebastian asked suddenly. And don't give me the line about Fletcher being complicit. You could have gone to the Ethics Board, the SEC, a dozen other places. But you came straight to me. Camila stared into her glass. The truth felt dangerous. Because I've spent my whole life following rules that were designed to keep people like me in our place, she said finally. Good grades, perfect resume, smile and nod and be grateful for scraps. And for what? So Diana Fletcher could use me as disposable labor while she collects millions on deals like this? She looked up at him. You don't follow rules. You rewrite them. I wanted to be on the side that wins for once. Something shifted in Sebastian's expression. For a moment, the ice in his eyes thawed. My father built Cross Industries from nothing, he said, voice low. Worked himself into an early grave to give me opportunities he never had. Rivera was his business partner once. They started together. But when the company took off, Rivera wanted control. When my father refused, Rivera tried to stage a hostile takeover. Nearly succeeded, too. He drained his glass. My father had a heart attack during the legal battle. Died in a hospital room surrounded by lawyers. I was 19. I've been destroying Rivera piece by piece ever since. This trap of his, it's just another move in a war that's been going on for 15 years. The raw pain in his voice cracked something open in Camila's chest. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be. It made me who I am. He set down his glass and turned to face her fully. But it also means I can't lose this. Not to him. Never to him. The vulnerability disappeared as quickly as it came, replaced by familiar steel. But Camila had seen it. The wound beneath the armor. We won't lose, she said with more confidence than she felt. Sebastian studied her face, his gaze intense. You're different than I expected. How so? Most people are afraid of me. You're afraid too, but you don't let it stop you. That's rare. He stepped closer. Camila's breath caught. The air between them felt charged, dangerous. This thing between us, Sebastian said quietly. This tension. You feel it too. It wasn't a question. Heat flooded Camila's face. We can't, she managed. It would compromise everything. I know. But he didn't move away. Doesn't make it less real. His phone shattered the moment, buzzing insistently. Sebastian answered it, his expression morphing from intensity to shock. When? He demanded. How bad? He ended the call, his face carved from stone. Rivera just filed an expedited motion to close the Meridian acquisition in 72 hours instead of the agreed 6 weeks. The judge approved it. He's accelerating the timeline. Camila's blood turned cold. Why would he do that? Because he knows we're onto him. Someone told him. They stared at each other as the realization hit. Fletcher, Camila breathed. Sebastian's smile was terrible. Looks like we know whose side she's on now. His phone buzzed again. A text this time. He showed her the screen. From Diana Fletcher. We need to talk about your new associate, tomorrow, 9 a.m., my office. Don't be late. She's calling you in, Sebastian said. If you go, she'll bury you. If you don't, she'll know we're working together. Camila's mind raced. Then we use it. I go to the meeting, tell her I found the trap, and went straight to her like a good little associate. Feed her false information about what we know. She'll see through it. Maybe. But it buys us time. She met his eyes. Unless you have a better idea? Sebastian looked at her for a long moment. You're willing to walk into the lion's den for this? For this? For what we're building? Yes. Something like admiration flickered across his face. You're either very brave or very stupid. Both, probably. His laugh was unexpected. Genuine. It transformed his face, making him look younger. Human. All right, he said. We play it your way. But Camila? His expression turned serious. If this goes wrong, I can't protect you. Fletcher has too much power in the legal community. She could destroy your career before it starts. I know. And you're still willing to do it? Camila thought about the threatening phone call. Diana Fletcher's contempt, Rivera's trap, Sebastian's grief, the feeling of finally being on the side that fought back instead of just surviving. I'm still willing. Sebastian reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was so unexpected, so gentle, that Camila forgot to breathe. You're going to be remarkable, he said softly, or you're going to burn. Either way, it'll be spectacular. His hand lingered against her cheek for a heartbeat too long. Then he stepped back, the moment breaking. Get some sleep, he said, voice returning to business. Tomorrow you face the dragon. Diana Fletcher's office was all glass and steel, a throne room designed to intimidate. Camila sat in the chair across from her desk, back straight, hands steady despite the fear coiling in her stomach. You've been avoiding me, Diana said without preamble. Ice clinked in her water glass. 3 weeks of radio silence. No status updates, no briefings. Then I hear from Sebastian Cross himself that you've been working directly with him. Care to explain? Camila had rehearsed this. Stick to the script. Stay calm. I found irregularities in the Meridian contract. Section 47.3b contains a reversion clause that could cost Cross Industries billions. I went directly to Mr. Cross because the timeline was critical. Diana's expression didn't change. And you didn't think to inform me first? I made a judgment call. Given the severity of the situation and Mr. Cross being our primary client, I felt he needed to know immediately. How noble. Diana's smile was poison. Tell me, Camila, what exactly did you find in Section 47.3b? This was the trap. Feed her false information. Make her think they were chasing the wrong lead. The developmental milestones reference outdated AI benchmarks, Camila said, the lie smooth on her tongue. If Cross Industries uses current technology standards instead of the ones specified, they'd easily meet the requirements. It's a drafting error that could void the reversion clause entirely. Diana studied her for a long, terrible moment. Is that so? She said finally. How fortunate that you caught such a critical error. I'm sure Mr. Cross is very grateful. Something in her tone made Camila's skin prickle. I was just doing my job. Your job. Diana stood, moving to the window. Your job, Camila Santos, is to do what I tell you. When I tell you, not to play detective, not to run to clients with half-baked theories, and certainly not to make me look incompetent in front of the man who represents 30% of this firm's revenue. The mask slipped. Real anger burned beneath. I've worked too hard to build this practice to have some bright-eyed kid fresh out of law school undermine me, Diana continued. Do you have any idea what it took to get here? What I've sacrificed? The deals I've made? The last part landed wrong. Too raw. Too revealing. What deals? Camila asked quietly. Diana's laugh was bitter. You think you're so clever. You think you figured it all out. But you're just a child playing in a world you don't understand. She turned to face Camila fully. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go back to Sebastian Cross and tell him the contract is fine. The reversion clause is standard. The deal closes in 72 hours as scheduled. And then you're going to resign from this firm, citing personal reasons. Camila's heart hammered. And if I refuse? Then I'll destroy you. I'll make sure you never work in law again. I'll bury you in ethics violations, malpractice claims, whatever it takes. By the time I'm done, you'll be lucky to get a job filing papers in traffic court. The office door opened. Thomas Rivera walked in like he owned the place. I see you've met my associate, he said pleasantly. The world tilted. Camila stared at Diana, pieces clicking into place with sickening clarity. You're working with him, she whispered. You've been working with him all along. Diana's smile was sharp. I prefer to think of it as keeping my options open. Sebastian Cross is brilliant, but he's also arrogant. He thinks he's untouchable. Thomas understands that real power comes from knowing when to fold and when to fight. Rivera moved closer, his expression almost sympathetic. Nothing personal, Miss Santos. You were never supposed to find the trap. The fact that you did shows impressive skill, but impressive skill in the wrong direction. How much did he pay you? Camila asked Diana. To betray your own client? More than Cross Industries pays me in 10 years. Diana said flatly. And a partnership stake in Rivera Technologies after the acquisition completes. I'm tired of being the hired help, Camila. This deal makes me a player. Camila stood, legs shaking but holding. You won't get away with this. We already have, Rivera said. The contract closes in 3 days. Even if Cross figures out the trap now, there's no time to stop it. The legal mechanisms are already in motion. And if you run to him with this little conversation, well, it's your word against ours. A junior associate with everything to gain versus 2 established professionals. Who do you think people will believe? He had a point. A terrible, suffocating point. Plus, Diana added, I have security footage of you accessing confidential client files after hours without authorization. Doctored, obviously, but good enough to end your career. Your choice. Walk away now, or I release the footage and bury you. Camila's mind raced. The script was gone. The plan was dead. She was trapped. I need to think, she managed. You have 1 hour, Diana said. Then I want your answer. Camila walked out on numb legs, past the receptionist into the elevator. Her reflection in the polished doors looked haunted. The moment she hit the lobby, she ran. Sebastian's private line rang twice before he answered. Camila, what happened? Fletcher's working with Rivera, she gasped, ducking into an alley. She set you up. She's been setting you up from the beginning. They have security footage they'll use to destroy me if I don't back off. The deal closes in 72 hours and they think we can't stop it. Silence on the other end. Sebastian? Come to my office now, we're finishing this. How? Diana was right. We're out of time. Even if we expose them, the legal process takes weeks. The deal will close before we can stop it. Camila. His voice was steel wrapped in silk. Do you trust me? The question hung in the air. Trust him. The ruthless CEO who destroyed competitors and built empires on calculated risks, who'd shown her glimpses of the wounded man beneath the armor, who'd made her feel powerful and terrified in equal measure. Yes, she whispered. I trust you. Then get here. Because we're not playing by their rules anymore. We're burning the whole game to the ground. She ran toward Cross Tower, her heart pounding not with fear but with something wild and reckless. When she burst into his office, Sebastian was on the phone, his expression carved from ice. I don't care what it costs, he was saying. Make it happen now. He ended the call and looked at her. Something in his eyes made her breath catch. I'm calling in every favor I have, he said. Every dirty secret, every political connection, every weapon I've spent 15 years building. By morning, Rivera's board will be in revolt. By noon, the SEC will freeze the acquisition pending fraud investigation. By sunset, Diana Fletcher will be facing disbarment. That'll destroy them, Camila said. Completely. Yes, it'll also destroy you. If you burn those connections, that leverage, you'll have nothing left to build with. Sebastian moved toward her slowly, deliberately. I know. Why would you do that? He stopped in front of her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Because they came after you, he said simply. Because you put everything on the line for me and I'll be damned if I let them destroy you for it. Tears burned in Camila's eyes. Sebastian, you can't. Your father's company, everything you've built, you need those connections to survive. I need you more. The words hung between them like a confession. I'm not worth it, she whispered. Let me decide what you're worth. He cupped her face in his hands, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. Make the call, she said. Burn it all down. Sebastian smiled, fierce and beautiful. Then he kissed her. The kiss was everything. Desperate and gentle and fierce. It tasted like whiskey and war and something that felt dangerously close to salvation. Camila's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, drowning in the feeling of finally letting go. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against hers. Whatever happens next, he murmured. We face it together. Together, she agreed. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression went deadly calm. Rivera just filed for an emergency injunction to prevent any interference with the acquisition. Judge approved it. We can't touch the deal legally now. Camila's stomach dropped. Then we lost. No. Sebastian's smile was dangerous. We just stopped playing by legal rules. What are you talking about? He showed her his phone. An email from an unknown sender with a single attachment. Financial records, offshore accounts, Money trails that led straight from Rivera Technologies to judges, politicians, and Diana Fletcher. I have a source inside Rivera's organization, Sebastian said. Has been feeding me information for months. This is everything. Every bribe, every payoff, every illegal move Rivera's made in the past 10 years, including proof that he fabricated environmental reports to shut down 3 of my factories last year. Camila stared at the screen. This is enough to send him to prison. Not just him. Fletcher too, and half a dozen public officials. Sebastian's eyes met hers. But if I release this, I go down with them. Some of these accounts trace back to deals I made. Gray area stuff, but enough to destroy me legally. Then don't release it. We'll find another way. There is no other way. And you know it. He touched her face gently. This is the play. The only play. I burn us both to stop him. Sebastian, no. Camila, yes. His voice was firm. I've been at war with Rivera for 15 years. I'm tired, but more than that. I'm tired of who I've had to become to fight him. Maybe it's time to let it all go. You'll lose everything. I'll lose everything I've built on revenge and rage. But I'll keep the one thing that actually matters. What's that? He kissed her again, softer this time. You. Before she could respond, he hit send. The email flew to every major news outlet, the SEC, the FBI, and the State Bar Association. It's done, he said quietly. Now we wait for the storm. The storm came fast and brutal. By morning, every news channel was running the story. Corporate fraud, bribery, conspiracy. The names Sebastian Cross, Thomas Rivera, and Diana Fletcher splashed across headlines like blood in water. Federal agents raided Rivera Technologies at dawn. Diana Fletcher was escorted from her office in handcuffs, cameras capturing her furious, tearless face. Thomas Rivera disappeared, his whereabouts unknown, but warrants issued for his arrest, and Sebastian Cross stood at his office window, watching his empire crumble. Cross Industries stock is down 42%, his CFO reported over speakerphone. The board is calling for your resignation. 3 major clients have pulled their accounts. The SEC has frozen all transactions pending investigation. Understood, Sebastian said calmly. Tell the board I'll step down effective immediately. Silence. Then, Sebastian, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. He ended the call and turned to Camila, who sat on his office couch, exhausted but alive. It's over, he said. Is it? She stood, moving to him. The Meridian deal died with the scandal. Rivera's facing prison. Fletcher's disbarred. But you're facing charges too. Minor ones. Gray area deals that'll probably end in fines and probation. I'll lose the company, but I'll stay out of prison. He touched her face, memorizing the feeling. Worth it, Camila's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her breath caught. The State Bar wants to interview me. About my role in the investigation. They're deciding whether to pursue charges. Sebastian's jaw tightened. Tell them everything. You are acting in the client's best interest. You uncovered fraud. You're protected by whistleblower laws. I broke confidentiality protocols, accessed files without authorization, worked directly with you instead of through proper channels. She met his eyes. I might lose my license before I even really start practicing. Then we'll fight it. Sebastian. She took his hands. I knew the risks. I made my choices. Whatever happens now, I can live with it because I didn't let them win. He pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. They stood like that as the city churned below. 2 people who'd burned the world down and somehow found each other in the ashes. 6 months later, the coffee shop in Brooklyn was nothing like the gleaming towers they'd left behind. Small tables, mismatched chairs, the smell of fresh bread and espresso. Camila sat by the window with her laptop open, reviewing documents for her new job at a nonprofit legal aid clinic. The State Bar had cleared her after a 3-month investigation. Turned out whistleblower protections were stronger than Diana Fletcher had implied. Shocking. Sebastian slid into the chair across from her, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He looked different now. Softer somehow, the sharp edges worn down to something more human. He'd sold what remained of Cross Industries to pay fines and settlements. Started consulting for tech startups, helping them avoid the mistakes he'd made. How's the Henderson case? He asked, pushing her coffee across the table. Good. I think we can get her full custody plus child support. The documentation you helped me pull together really strengthened her position. His smile was genuine, reaching his eyes. Told you I was good at finding patterns? Yes, you're very impressive, she grinned. How was your meeting? Interesting. Small biotech company, brilliant product, terrible business structure. I might take them on. Will it make you rich again? No. He reached across the table, lacing his fingers through hers. But it might do some good. That's worth more. Camila squeezed his hand. They'd lost everything and somehow gained something better. Purpose, peace, each other. I love you, she said. Simple, true. I love you too. He lifted her hand to his lips. Even though you destroyed my entire life. You destroyed it yourself. I just helped. Best help I ever got. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her smile faded. What? Sebastian asked. It's from an unknown number. She opened the message and her blood ran cold. A single photo. Thomas Rivera, standing outside her apartment building. Taken this morning. Below it, a text. We're not done. Sebastian's expression went deadly calm. He took the phone, studied the image. He's out, Camila whispered. He made bail somehow. Sebastian, he knows where I live. Pack a bag, Sebastian said, standing. You're staying with me until we figure this out. We can't keep running from him. We're not running. His eyes met hers, and she saw the old steel return. Not the ruthless CEO, but something more focused, more dangerous. We're ending this. For good. How? Rivera thinks he still has power. He thinks he can intimidate us like he did before. Sebastian's smile was sharp. He forgets that we don't have empires to protect anymore. No companies to threaten. No careers to destroy. He took everything we could lose. That makes us the most dangerous kind of enemy. What are you saying? I'm saying we stop defending and start attacking. We have nothing left to lose, Camila. And he has everything. Let's see how he likes playing from a position of weakness. She should have been scared. Should have wanted to hide, to run, to let someone else fight this battle. Instead, she felt that familiar wild recklessness rise in her chest. Together? She asked. Always. They walked out of the coffee shop hand in hand into the afternoon sun. Behind them, the city sprawled vast and indifferent. Ahead, an uncertain future. But they'd burned the world down once before. They could do it again. Only this time, they knew exactly what they were fighting for. Not revenge, not power, not empires built on rage, each other. And that was worth everything. 3 days later, Thomas Rivera was arrested again. This time on charges of witness intimidation, stalking, and violating bail conditions. The evidence was airtight, collected by a team of private investigators Sebastian had hired with the last of his savings. Rivera went to trial within months. The same evidence that had exposed his fraud in the Meridian deal, combined with new charges, put him away for 15 years. Diana Fletcher served 3 years and lost her license permanently. And Camila Santos and Sebastian Cross built a new life from the ashes of the old one. Some nights, wrapped in each other's arms in their modest apartment, Sebastian would trace patterns on her skin and whisper, "No regrets?" "Not a single one," she'd always answer. "You? I'd burn it all down again just to find you." And she'd kiss him, tasting coffee and possibility and the strange, perfect freedom that came from losing everything except what mattered most. They'd been enemies, then allies, then lovers. But more than any of that, they were survivors. And sometimes, survival looked like choosing love over power, truth over safety, and each other over everything else the world offered. The city lights glittered outside their window like fallen stars. Inside, they built something better than empires. They built a home. The end.